Hi, everybody. I think we're on. Yay! Good to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So I'm going to get started today. I'm going to do some more little landscapes, kind of like this one. But I want to do some colored pencil with the watercolor. So we're going to see how that goes, but I hope to do another 2 with you today. And kind of see how this ends up here. Hopefully you got a good view. I'm gonna look at my reference photos again here just to make sure that I kind of have an idea. The first one, I want it to be sort of an ocean-y scene. Now, I don't know if you noticed that I have kind of a blue spot on my picture. It was an accident, but it's light blue. I think I can cover it. So this is real life for you guys. But I really liked this ocean scene with this sort of rock formation. So I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to start with my pencil. And I want to get just a basic composition in there. I like the low horizon line for the water. Let's get a little closer. There we go. Okay. Low horizon line for water. The really steep I kind of actually want to make the trees a little bit different here. Let's see. I want kind of bendy trees. After all, I'm thinking Studio Ghibli still. So, anything goes, right? It's still a stretch for me to figure out how I want to do that, or how to do that, because I don't normally draw stuff like that. But I'm going to give that a try. Some clouds in the sky. I won't draw those actually because those can be lifted out later. Okay, I think I've got a good, just basic sketch down for the ocean scene. And I'm going to just start with some basic washes here. I'm naturally a teacher, so if I'm like teaching as I'm going, even though I'm doing this for myself, it's just how I do it. So sorry if you're getting lessons in art. Hopefully you find them beneficial here. You can find more things like that on the rest of my YouTube channel with the other videos that I have. All right, so I want to get sort of the sky in there, but the sky is a different color than the water. It's like the classic blue. So I just want to, and I'm just doing a base because I'm going to go in with more colored pencil later. But I just want to get, that's really dark. I just want to get a basic coat down over my trees in the distance, even lighter in the distance. The sky's always lighter at the horizon. than it is up farther in the sky. So just kind of working on that a little bit. Maybe a little deeper. I'll put in, like I said, colored pencil even on stuff like the sky if I decide later that I want it to be more vibrant. Need a little bit more color down in here. Just a little bit more, not that much. Okay, so we got basic sky in there. Let's do water next because they can kind of bleed and it's not going to be a huge deal. So, aqua color. But in the distance, I think I have a nice aqua here too. Yeah. So off in the distance now, hopefully I don't want to bleed into my sky too much here. But I want the colors to be pretty vibrant up close there, and then they can get lighter as they come this way. And then they can get greener as they get even closer. So you can get that aqua water look. And then that kind of mixes a little bit with sort of a tan. So orange is kind of nice down in here. Ooh, maybe too orange. Watercolor, you just add water and it tends to fix things. But I want that to kind of creep up this direction. So it goes into the sand. Okay, I'm liking that. I don't want to touch it too much. Let it kind of move around and see what happens. Again, I can emphasize with colored pencil or more layers of watercolor afterwards. But you always want to work in layers because watercolor gets kind of fussy. I mean, look at that up there. That's not bad. I might leave that. It works for clouds. But as it dried, it kind of did that texture a little bit. But, you know, not too bad. Then I want to do the rocks because I'm working really thin layers and it's drying really fast. I can kind of move on to the next area without running into too much problem. And this rock thing, at least from my reference, is kind of white, but I want to add in a little bit more color definition to it. Going over my blue spot that I have going on here. As I go, I'm going to add a little bit of brown and purple in there. Just to, it's going to go, well, it's okay because we have shadow down in there anyway. I like this pink color. It's actually pretty. I might warm up the highlights just a touch. Feel free to comment or say hi. I'd like to know who's watching. Oh, I don't really want to mess up my cool highlights though, but let's see if I can just touch in. Ooh, it always happens. It always goes down too bright. Okay. Good. That's good for now. The reason I thought I'd do colored pencil on top is just to get a little bit more definition for edges, for contrast, for stuff like that. So as that dries, I'm going to do the bottom one here. So I'll move this up a little bit so you can see this guy a little clearer. And I was looking up some other landscapes of mountains, like in China. I think it would be like Western China. And I love those mountains. I don't know what they're called, but these types of mountains. I want to do something kind of like that in this next one. Let's see if this will stay for me. So I like in how there can be closer ones in here. So I might do a nice close one that's super, it's going to be super sharp. And it's got maybe some trees on it. Different ledges, maybe another tree on the ledge, stuff like that. Just looks really cool, really tall, really lots of height to them. And then in the distance, I can kind of hint at, there's ones farther away. These will be blurrier anyway. I want one a little closer. Well, it's maybe too close. Let's go a little farther back. Maybe I can have some sort of flying thing through there. A lot of these pictures that I'm looking at have like a lot of mist happening. So that makes it kind of cool to add in some of that. So then let's see if you want to see that so far. The oceanscape drawing and then the very light sketch. I'll bring it to life. Don't worry. Okay. So we're going to start with some basic watercolor layers. I want to do sort of the misty background first. So I'm going to, it's kind of let's see, this color. But really watered down. Maybe I put a touch of this awesome pink in there. And I'm just going to start with that for my layers. And then I can go darker with actual mountains later. The thing with watercolors, you have to preserve your lights or your whites, because once you cover over an area that's supposed to be lighter, it's gonna you're gonna lose that. You can't get it back like other mediums where you can paint in white on top of it, with acrylic or oil or something. So you have to know where your lights are gonna be and keep them there. Preserve them. I might kind of in the base here. Yeah, that looks kind of more foggy. Now, hopefully I can kind of reveal those mountains as we go a little bit more. Let's see if I can probably going to give our rock here a little bit of love. Again, just kind of working on just covering the canvas for the paper so that it has color down. Otherwise, it makes it tricky later if obviously paying attention to what needs to stay white, but there's oftentimes just white spaces, white gaps, and you're like, ooh, gotta get rid of that. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna maybe hop back up to this guy and work on him a little bit. And I might do some of the trees here in a little bit of green base just to get them started. And then we'll kind of finish them as we go. I want them a little bluer. Looking for a little bit more viney, which is what is happening here, which I like. I don't like the trees in the pictures that I'm looking at, so I'm just making sure that I incorporate that. All right, and I'm going to go deeper with the shadows in the rock here. Ooh, yeah. I might put this purple down. I know it seems a little crazy, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to put in this deep purple, and it becomes the shadow on the sand as well. And over into here underneath this guy. Kind of like that. And that kind of creeps over here just a little bit under here. Shadow on the rock itself. There we go. Lighten just a little bit. Let's go a little browner for the stuff on the rock. The nice tunnel that we want to reveal here. Oop. Slow down, Mary. I get a little excited. There, because it's getting a little reflected light. Oh man, I'm a little reckless today. There we go. And that same color can be up here as well. Well, whoop, too red, too red, too red. Red is pretty powerful, so you have to be careful with red. Okay, little highlights preserved there. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. Kind of excited. Okay. So I'm gonna let that sit. Actually, there's some really bright green back in that tunnel there, and I just wanna hint at that. Just to kind of draw your eye in. I'll probably amp up this greens in here. Okay, let's go back down here while that kind of dries. And oh, actually, I'm forgetting. Hold on. I'm forgetting to put in a little bit more of a shadow up here where that tree kind of casts a shadow onto the rock. That's going to be important. Okay, that's better. Sweet. So now I can go down to here and reveal some of these mountains in the distance, which will be interesting because I put this blue down and I want to kind of hint at like, yes, there's mountains back there, but they're kind of blurry. You know, you're just sort of hinting at them, not actually fully painting them, especially all the way down. I just want to blend it into the background. So if I need a bigger brush, I can kind of come around these and just give them a little bit more of a bleeding room, especially for those distant ones, because those ones really don't need to be seen a whole lot. This one here is closer, so he can be a little bit sharper. Okay, that's not too bad. Now there's lots of trees and stuff on these guys. So in the distance, while it still has, yeah, that's what I want. Let it kind of bleed with what's there. Put in a little bit of hinting at that. Yeah, the joy of wet on wet. Let it do its thing, right? Okay, we're going to get a little greener as it comes forward, though, because things get warmer as they come forward. Still dark, though. I want dark trees. Hopefully that doesn't end up too dark, but you know, you have to kind of figure it out as you go. Something like that. I'll have to define kind of the edges of some of these guys a little bit more, the mountains themselves, because they're getting a little lost, and you definitely want that to be more visible. This in the background can be some hinted at trees back there, but maybe a little bit lighter. There we go. Okay, so you know, creating depth. Color pencil can help define edges. I might leave this one alone now because it's going to be too wet. I don't want the other stuff to blend. And I'm going to come down here or up here and do this guy again. I might get out colored pencils now. So let's heat up this color in here a little bit. Leave some reflections, but I want this green to kind of a little bit more detail in the water here. I need to get different blue. Like this guy is going to come way back here. It's going to straighten out this horizon. And it's going to be sort of that blender. Keep that. It's showing some waves as they come in, and the angle shifts a little bit here. Okay. Ooh, this is pretty. This is what I want. This can blend kind of on top of it in areas. I don't want to lose. I got some of this lighter green that looks like reflections, so I want to leave some of that. But hint at other stuff. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And if I go into trees next, I want my trees to be a little bit more olive looking, I think, which I already have. So you can see the difference between the trees and the water. So they're clearly different. Let's see if I can find the color that I want here. I want to almost just get some shadow happening on the underside of this so that it looks like, you know, the sun's kind of hitting it and casting this shadow on the ground. And then this one, same thing. I want kind of some, whoa, shake the whole table. Some deep Probably need a darker green actually, or a blue. Right now, the super dark shadow colors. This is that nice indigo blue. I like Prismacolor because they're pretty soft and buttery is how I like to describe them. So I like to put those in here. You can feel that my paper's a little bit wet still, so I'm trying to be careful. Okay. I want to kind of hint at a little bit more warmth in here on the rock. So I'm going to do that with some watercolor as that comes down. There's a little bit of that over here as well. Ooh, too much. I don't want to go crazy over there because it's in the distance. Then I might, let's see, do I have like a black? This is a gray. This would work probably. I just want to darken this back in here so that stuff in the distance, the hole in the distance can really pop forward. Let's see if I can come in here and kind of reveal this a little bit more. It's kind of the focus in many ways, so I want to put in a little bit more contrast to just bring the eye like right into that spot. Hint at kind of some rock formations. I'm liking these shadows. I think this is working really nicely. I might even just add a few more little guys in here to make that shadow stuff pop a little bit more against the rock. And then we can get a little bit more of a curving of the rock as it goes underneath there. And then I think I want to give this white back here a little bit of blue so that that bright little streak right there in the distance can kind of pop forward. I'm going to give it a warm hue. There we go. So it's not white. I want a brown here to bring in a little bit. Actually, let me do it with watercolor first because I want it pretty soft. But I'm just noticing that it should be darker kind of in this corner going this way. And it kind of shows off some of the waves. Little waves, but they're there. Kind of the edge of the water a little bit. I love these shadows in here too. So I think this is working out great. And we have a comment. Sorry, I wasn't looking at my comments recently. Yeah, Ryan's sneezing in the background. It was pretty loud, but I don't know if people heard it or not. That's okay. Brighten up the sky. Oh, I don't like that blue. I don't know why I dig into that every time. I want this one. It's just a little too on the kind of aqua side of things. But let's give this a try. Yeah, that just gives the sky a little bit more personality when you can give it just another layer of color so it doesn't feel left out. I don't want that cloud to be too vibrant though, or too harsh edges. Okay, I'm really happy with this one right now. I'll show you up close kind of what that's looking like. To give you an idea, it makes you want to go there. But let me make sure this stuff back in here is really dark. I guess I'm just missing a few, maybe a little bit more texture on the rock itself. So I might put some of that in, maybe with a little brown so it's not too obvious. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but just a little bit to show some texture, some ruggedness. There's a little bit of reflection actually I didn't get, so I'm going to put that in. A little hint of brown in there. Doesn't have to be much, just enough. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that outcome there. I'm loving this. I feel like the eye really draws you into that little section. So let's jump down to this one, and I can always add more to that guy. This one needs some work. We're still painting though, because I want to make sure I get enough layers on there. I do want to hint at, the sun kind of peeking through and hitting some of these trees. Ooh, a little too bright. So I'm going to put a little bit of that green, that bright green on these closer ones here. Oops, that's a farther. Just to be like, hey, the sun is peeking out. It's hitting these trees or something. I don't know. Okay. Then we're going to do some cool stuff with the rocks over here. And I want to go a little deeper. With the color. Maybe a little bit more blue. Okay, I think I want to do this before trees just because it's going to be kind of underneath trees. But I'm just going to follow sort of the edge of my rock here, kind of cutting over, putting in some, and I'm looking at some pictures for reference because I don't really know exactly what this is supposed to look like, but I just want to get kind of an idea of all of these little ledges that are so dramatic. Again, that was my goal with this, was like trying to get some really dramatic scenes, landscapes. I want the color to change just a little bit here. A little bluer as it comes down this way, because there's a lot more blue hinted at down here because the ledge changes a little bit. But see how that just like pops so much more than the stuff behind it? Love it, love it, love it. The sun is coming kind of from this direction is how I'm liking it. So I'm going to leave that. It looks kind of like it's like leaning, but I think it reads enough that there's enough support down here to keep it up. But you know, it's Studio Ghibli style, so we make it work, right? He does weird, bizarre, they do weird, bizarre stuff in their movies. And so anything goes, right? My favorite is Howl's Moving Castle. And my husband's favorite is Spirited Away, both of which are very good. I want to reveal a little bit of a darker value over to the side. And underneath here a little bit. Hopefully I'm still in view. Yeah, okay. I get lost in painting and forget that there's like people watching me. But I want to go for pretty dark contrast here, especially against the background on this side, because that's really gonna pop against that faded background. Okay, I'm gonna hint at the tree. I think I'm gonna do that in watercolor. Background's dry. I want to do the tree trunks here. Let's see if I can remember where I put my trees. I think I put one here and here. And then one hanging off this ledge over here for sure. I might have put one here. And there's kind of some individual guys kind of in here. Just so I know where my trees are going to go. I still want to warm up this rock a little bit more. In spots. So it looks like the sun is actually hitting it, right? As it gets down this way, it gets a little bit more into shadow. So I want to add a little bit of purple into the base a little more. Okay, liking that, liking it. I want to do that back one over here, this back mountain needs to have a little bit more definition on the edges and stuff. So I'm going to go in with sort of a purple blue, because again, it's like this color, but far away. So it's going to look a little bit more washed out, and edges blend a little bit more here. And then these guys way far away can have similar fixes to them. Not the super far away ones, but these ones here can have a little bit of help. Oh, that's the wrong one. They kind of blended together a little bit too much, so I have to kind of figure out where they're supposed to be. And the ones really far away, I'm just going to stick with sort of a blue, really washed out blue, but I'm going to do the same thing. to kind of enhance their darker side a little bit more. Just the dark side. I wonder actually if my background like sky mist color needs to go more vibrant, because I want to be able to reveal the lighter side of these things. And even this one is getting lost in the background. That means I need to darken the background just a little bit. So I'm going to go in with that same sort of purple blue color, I guess. Oops, lost my picture. And go in, and I can define my edges a little bit more this time, because they're not going to be quite as misty looking, because I don't want to lose the edges of stuff. As it gets farther down, I guess I can get a little bit lighter. But around the edges and things up here, I want to kind of define the sides of my mountains more. It's a back and forth kind of dance between, okay, is it too dark? Is it too light? What do I need in the background to help make this more visible? And with watercolor, that's why you start lighter, and that's why it is lighter, so you can have that freedom to go back and be like, that needs another layer. You know, then you just put it in. Okay, it's drying a little weird on the edges, so I want to make sure that it doesn't leave funny lines. But I think I like that better. That just amps it up a little bit there, ramps it up. And then we're going to maybe just darken a little bit on the edges of some of these guys here. Right, I think I'm happy with that. Now I can do these close-up trees, but I want to wait a little bit because they're going to be, the background's wet now. So I don't want to set myself up for failure. So is there anything I can do in the top thing? I like don't want to mess it up. Really don't want to mess it up. And actually, I'm going to take tape off for you because that is the most fun, is taking the tape off and seeing the nice edges. Sometimes watercolor can bleed underneath, but for the most part, it tends to stay in the picture, and you get a nice border to your painting, which is just so satisfying to peel off and reveal. Got some dark up in here. I can just make it a little bit darker. Why not? because the darker I make other stuff, the brighter this sort of focal point will pop out. I almost want to do, I'm going to have to lift this up, turn it this way, make sure my horizon is actually straight. Which is not an easy thing to do, let me tell you. I can make that blue a little bit brighter. That helps. Okay, this is probably close here, so we're gonna put in those trees. So I'm gonna do the, let's see. Actually, I kind of lost, speaking of that highlight on the green. I think I put it on the wrong side of the trees, but at first. So we're gonna fix that. Boom, it's fixed. Okay. And we're gonna put it on these guys, but we want to do the dark green first probably. And work to the light, even though that's opposite of watercolor, but it'll make sense. That's how I did those other trees, and I liked the effect of that. So I guess we'll do it that way. Having trouble getting the green I want. Okay, that's better. I still want it to be a dark olivey green. Okay, so then I'm gonna put this guy, this tree in here. They're more detailed, so they're not going to be just blobs like the ones in the background. They need to be sharper looking. Yes, like that. I don't think I want any more. I just want the top of that revealed. And then with the bright green, I want to put that in. Let's put a little yellow in it so it stands out more from the trees in the background. Yeah, doesn't that pop forward? This one maybe won't have as many because it's kind of in the shadow. But these guys are just showing off. Beautiful. Okay. I do want to put a little something. Remember, I want to think Studio Ghibli. I'm not just painting landscapes. I want to painting dramatic landscapes. I want to think of something kind of interesting to add into them. So this is where I have to be a little creative. What? No. Creative? How dare I be creative? Oh, no, stay together. Okay. So I picture like a little flying thing. I don't even know what that means, but something that's flying past here. I'm going to put it kind of low, and it's going to have sort of a bubble on the top. I'm going to really try not to make it look like a bird because I don't want it to look like a bird. Something that's got like, oh no, it's looking like a bird. Ah! Okay, start with bird shape. Then from there, you can see that. Then from there, I can work on making it look more plain-like or something. I don't know what I'm going for here, but let's try this. If I do, some of you guys might be like, "You're ruining it. What are you doing?" But this was my goal all along, was to do this. Now all I need to do is just make sure that it doesn't look like a plane or like a bird. Some sort of flying contraption. Maybe it's got like legs. Does that help? I don't know. I have no idea what this is. Okay, there's a little dude sitting in there. Does that make more sense? That doesn't look like a bird anymore to me. I want kind of a white, creamy color to help out with the little windy thingies. And it does have little like leg things. I think I'm working it. I'm getting it there. I'm getting it there. It's coming. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. I've got a little into it here. I gotta make sure you guys can see. Revealing the sort of helicopter look here, kind of, but also plain look. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. It looks like a spider. I wonder if I need to put in, like, it needs something that's a little bit more distinct in color. So it looks like it's, you know, a scene in a Studio Ghibli film where it's got these, it's just bright orange or something. I don't know. I did it. This top one, I have no idea what to add. Absolutely no idea. But I know with this bottom one, I do want to put in a few more distant mountains, just the shadowed side. I think that'll really help the composition here. If there's just a few more hints of like stuff in the distance there. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to do really fast was make sure that this stuff is really dark in here, and I might glaze over some of this a little bit more, but I want to hint at some more deep rock crevices, especially as it gets down this direction, so that this can really pop forward. And then the trees are probably casting a little bit of a shadow, so I want to make sure I get that, but I'm just kind of darkening whatever I put for my shadows already. And actually, yeah, I can have fun with the shadows of the trees on the rock. Oop, I don't want green. Right, like that. Same with this over in here. This little spot. It just adds a little bit more depth. I want to warm up this side here a little bit more. Actually, I probably should have cooled it down. Probably should have done the opposite because it's kind of away from the light, and warm light creates cooler shadows. So there's that. I think I like that a lot. It's really got a lot of depth to it, which was my goal, which wasn't easy, but it was worth it. So there's that. This little corner looks a little bit too bright, don't you think? At least next to all the dark on that one side. So we're going to calm that down just a little bit. Bring that a little bit darker there. Okay, so I think we will stop there, but I want to take off the tape with you so you can enjoy that process. Since you were here the whole time to watch me do it. So the thing with pulling off tape is you have to be careful and you have to pull away from your picture and pull flat and pull slowly. And so I want to make sure I don't rip anything. Flat, away from picture, slowly. Because even artist tape can still kind of rip your paper, so you have to take it easy. I've ripped a painting down the almost middle once by ripping too fast and ripping too soon. It was like way too wet or something. So you make mistakes and then you learn from it. But look at how it just cleans up the edge. It's too bad I didn't have tape that fit right between them, but that's okay. We can cut them apart, and if they get framed or something, they'll look nice. So there's the two finished landscapes to add to the little collection. I don't know which one's your favorite. You can let me know, but I'll do a little close up here so you can see that little creature flying thing. And then this one, which I could still add something in there to add a little interest, add a little randomness, something that's not just a landscape. But I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. And again, these are the ones from last week. So you can see kind of where I was going with them. I think the color pencil really helps to get a little bit more detail. I didn't do that with this. The color, I got some dark values actually with the watercolor, but I did have to do a lot of layers to make that happen. So anyway, there's the pictures. But thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you can maybe share this with people when I post it finished, and you can enjoy watching it again and learn from it. But thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and come back for more. All right, see ya. Bye.